Howdy, howdy. Let 'em taters. This war is against Bray, BR Ass Elite, my buddy Master Beta, and also Nudie. Shout out to Nudies over there. And shout out to Undefeated Gaul up here. If you guys watched my off-season war video, then you know that I got poked real bad by that Yondu. 6-star unduped Yondu on Bane. We'll revisit that fight in this one. So this is actually a special war video. I had just a few fights in this war. I think 4 or 5. But Master Beta, who is not in the same battle group that I'm in, but he soloed one of our bosses, and he sent me the that solo boss video. And then in my battle group, Voluntaris, he got a boss solo too, and I've got both of those videos that I'm going to show you guys. So that's pretty cool. So against this Agent Venom here, you'll notice a slight change from the last time I faced an Agent Venom. If you guys remember, I parried him and then I attacked after parry. He obviously had the tenacity, shrugged it off, and he parried me back. I took a little bit of damage. That time, I'm just parrying. I didn't attack into him. I just baited the heavy the entire time, and that was pretty effective. So here we have a 345 champion on True Strike and Stun Immune, and it is another Dr. Octopus. I feel like he's getting popular on this node. I take 2 shots there before I ever get in a hit. I was taking some block damage, and his animations are still just a little bit funky. So I took a couple hits as I was backing up, but then after that I was able to get into rhythm, load up in L2, and wipe him out with that. So you see there that those 2 hits at the beginning dropped me down a little bit, 70% health, but not really a huge deal. Okay, so here on the power gain node, this is an interesting fight. So look at this. First of all, I scout his profile, and he's got 3 455 Mystic Champions. Just to be safe, I was thinking just to be safe, I'll go in with Magic so that I can power lock. Then I don't have to worry about baiting. Mordo, obviously, with his power gain, I didn't want to take a couple L3s or anything like that. So I go in with Magic, and it's a Magic, which I'm thinking initially is not going to be an issue. But she did not throw her special. She got me back into a corner. I had to push her over that second bar of power. Just look at this limbo damage that I take, guys. So by the time I've got her power locked, I'm at 50% health. I'm gonna finish her off with my own L2. But look at this. This is a 38-0 fight. And dropped me down to 50%. I had parry in that fight, all limbo damage. That is pretty crazy. Going forward, I'm going to stick to what I've said in the past. Any Mystic Champion, no matter what, I'm going into that fight with Blade. He's just so much safer. He can do the dirt so much better. So this is revisiting the previous fight I had against Undefeated Gaul's Yondu on this node, and I had no idea how to fight this guy. Look, I'm just trying to backdraft him out in the open. Word of advice, don't backdraft anybody unless they're cornered and don't have any power. But he really took care of me in that fight, and I wanted to show that because Master Beta actually, Mr. Bader, he kind of helped me understand the nuances of fighting Yondu, and he should not have done that, though I appreciate it. So this is a rematch, man. This is just a straight rematch. I do throw in the combat regen boost, an attack boost, I think, and then the 150% skill power boost. But what I did not know previously was that you can only parry Yondu on medium attacks, which means those charging attacks. at the start of the fight, when you guys are in close proximity, that is a light attack that they're leading with. And Yondu uses his Yaka arrow to lead with all light attacks. You can't parry a projectile unless you're Proxima Midnight. So now that I know that, ever since I knew that, just that one little tidbit there, I was able to practice a little bit on Yondu, and I fought I don't know how many Yondus, several on Bane too, and I've yet to die to Yondu since that embarrassment against Bray in the offseason. So I was holding on to my L3 there to just in case I got clipped by a bleed or took some bleed through the block, I would shrug it off 95% faster with Blade. And then once the Bane timer flipped, I said screw it, I'll just throw the L3 here, got the stun, and was able to finish him off. Now who's got the big thing? That's right. So that is actually that's my last fight of the war. I do want to also mention on Node 49, I fought a Taskmaster. That was a clean fight, but I was actually at capacity on my phone, and so it did not save. So I had to dump some old war videos from my phone, which I should have been doing anyway, in order to record that Yondu fight. And fortunately, I was able to do that in the same amount of time that I kept the combat region on. So anyway, that is it for this war. Now we have 2 special videos. I'm going to try to be as sparse with my dialogue as possible. The first boss solo is actually Master Beta, using his 565 Ghost Rider against Dr. Doob's 455 Medusa boss. And I don't actually know if he boosted much. This was the start of the video, but you can see here his PI is about 1615 with class advantage. So I'm thinking if he boosted, he just used some smaller boosts, and I'm sure that he would have used a lot bigger boosts with against a 565. But here going up against a 455, really what you want to do, what his strategy is to obviously get her fate sealed with that L1 when she has the Furies up. And then a really critical key to not time out against Medusa with Ghost Rider, since his base attack is not very high, is to interrupt her heavies like Master Beta is doing here. So once she throws that first component of her heavy, then he's going to interrupt the heavy right here, and that's going to save you a lot of time. And essentially he's just baiting her out until he's masturbating her out until he can get those judgments on her, and then it looks like build up to an L1 or an L3. Obviously the L1 is only going to fate seal once per L3, if that makes sense. So you have to restart the judgments. The only way to do that is with an L3. So here he's going to hit the L2 to power drain her, and you see too, he's had a clean fight here, and he's down to under 30% health just from block damage. So I mean, Medusa hits so hard, and this is only a 455 Medusa. That just goes to show you that Ghost Rider, while he's a tremendous option for Medusa, I'm at a 565. She's tough to solo because of her health pool. So I think the best solution to her is probably Morningstar with her L2, and then beyond that, Ghost Rider is definitely still a great option. But I'm thinking if Doobs had a 565 Medusa, then Master Beta would have needed to go with the big super heavy boosts. I'm talking the 30% champ boost, the greater attack boost, stuff like that to get her down in time. A 455, and he's got a 565 Ghost Rider, and he's gonna come in with under 20 seconds here with the solo. So anyway, Master Beta, thank you, sir, for sharing this video. I'm happy to have been able to show this. Lord knows that I have trouble with Medusa, so I probably could not have done that. So this is my boy Vol. He is our battle group general, and this is a really interesting fight here. So it's up against a 565 Morningstar. Now, generally speaking, there are two things you need to worry about. Obviously, Mystic Dispersion and her power gain. Her L2 does a ton of damage through the block, a ton of energy damage, so you need to be proficient at evading that. And then obviously the bleeds. When you hit into her, if she's awakened, she will bleed you. So what Vol does here is he goes with the big boost, and he threw on an invulnerability boost, which is going to allow him to not worry about her power meter, not worry about Mystic Dispersion. He is just going to basically just beat her down and let her throw, that was a great L2 evade, let her throw that L3, and he's just going to take that damage. He can take 3 L3s from her. And the other key crucial strategic element here to Vol's fight is he is not throwing specials. He is going to leave his special meter at 3 so that he can shrug off that bleed debuff a lot faster, 95% faster. So you see, just from block damage and from some bleeds, he's down about 45% health. Because this 565 Morningstar does a lot of damage, and her bleeds are pretty deep. So, so check this out too. This is another key thing that everybody should know. That's an 8 hits were registered for that L3, but with the invulnerability boost, 1 L3, no matter how many hits or how many components to the L3, only counts as 1 hit toward the invulnerability boost. So he still is able to take 2 more L3s without dying, or 2 more L3s that that basically he's completely invulnerable to any damage from. So he is he's playing this fight perfectly. You also notice that he's trying not to hold his block as much, because holding his block would consume some of that power to regen him. And consuming that power, of course, would lower the power meter and make him more susceptible to her bleed damage. So this is just, in my opinion, from what I've seen against Morningstar, this might be the best strategy going forward. This was a groupthink type of strategy here. It was actually really fun to talk with all the other officers and come up with this strategy, and Vol decided that this was the best strategy, and I think he was right. And there you go, a 67 hit solo on a 565 Medusa, and he's got the biggest dick now, for sure, with that solo. Amazing solo. Like I said, this is a brief war for me. Didn't even get a mini. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and that's it.